When you first log into Greenhouse, you're led to this concept of My Dashboard. And the whole purpose is to make it really easy for the user to understand what are the things that they need to do. And what are their personal responsibilities. And right off the bat, this tends to be a little different than other recruiting software. Typically, when you first log in, you just see a list of jobs. Or a list of candidates. And from there, you're figuring out what needs to happen. And the reason we organize it this way instead is because as the business grows, there are more and more people that are not full-time recruiters, like your hiring managers, your interviewers, and your executives, that really want that simple version of what do I need to do and how do I get back to the rest of my job. So this will be a simplified, action-oriented dashboard that will guide each user on how to spend their time. So things like I've done an interview in the past and I haven't submitted my feedback. Or there are new resumes that have come in on the roles that I'm responsible for reviewing. There's even an automated task manager that will update for you as candidates move through your workflow. So it's focused on not just the stage that the candidate's in, but actually guiding you on the action that needs to happen to move the process forward and make sure candidates are not stuck or slipping through the cracks. Now, this is the dashboard for someone who has recruitment responsibilities, but Greenhouse is meant to be utilized by the entire organization. So even those that don't have recruiting responsibilities could come into Greenhouse and they could use our referral portal. If you have some sort of referral program or incentive, that's visible right here. And this gives everyone the ability to not only add new referrals, but also keep track of their referrals as they move through the recruiting process. This won't give them access to things like notes or details, but it's just a status update, and it's going to prevent people from chasing your recruiters down and asking them for updates. The last piece of the referral portal is this integration with social media, and this gives everyone the ability to allow Greenhouse to say, I'm okay with Greenhouse posting jobs to my personal LinkedIn once a week. Maybe it's once a month. And your team can have templates set up so all they have to do is click schedule, and they'll get credit for anyone who comes in through their posting. So it's passive sourcing, good for branding, and the idea is that good people tend to know good people. Now, in addition to your everyday dashboard, you'll also have access to your all jobs dashboard. And this is that high-level summary of what's open, how many candidates do we have in each role, and how many days have we been looking to fill the position. The nice thing here is that each job actually has its own specific job dashboard. And it's one centralized place where both the recruiter and the hiring manager can go to get updates on that role. By providing this visibility to your managers as well, this is going to make that relationship a lot more collaborative. So we can see things like, what does the interview pipeline look like? How many interviews have happened for this role? Even trends around application volume, as well as which sources are working best. So this allows us to make sure we're being strategic with our time and resources. For each role, you can customize this completely. So for example, if you're opening up a new role, the first step would be to come in and decide what is going to be most important for this position, and that's what we call a candidate scorecard. This will allow you to define what are all those skills and traits that are most important for the role, and anything that goes on this scorecard will actually turn into a rubric or a checklist for anyone who's going to conduct an interview. That way, they're going to be giving you feedback on the same things that we all agreed were most important when we opened the role. From there, you can also customize things like the interview process. In most systems, this is very difficult to customize. In Greenhouse, per position, you'll see you can do things like drag and drop. So we can move things around, or we could change what something's called. We could customize a stage that has a few different types of interviews. And that's all per position. You could even decide, I'd like to get alerts for this type of role at a faster pace than others. Or from a notification standpoint, I want my department head to get a weekly recruiting report for this particular role. So this level of job level customization allows us to make sure that the system works in the way that you want it to for every team. Now, if we're conducting an interview for this particular position, Greenhouse is going to integrate with your calendar. So if I'm a hiring manager and an interviewer, I can just go into my calendar invite from Greenhouse, and what's automatically included is this hyperlink right here. So really easy to click on the link. I can access this from my mobile app, and this will lead me to what we call an interview kit. And this is a custom package of everything you need your team to know or have before they actually meet with the candidate. And the whole purpose is consistency. As the business grows, we want to ensure that the quality of the experience and the quality of the evaluation remains the same. So preparation notes, job details, the resume, and a scorecard, which can have ways for your team to take notes, but more importantly, takes your skill set and gives everyone the ability to rate the candidate on an apples-to-apples scale. So this is going to keep us focused and making sure that we have a fair way of grading all candidates across the same criteria. At the end of the process, everyone's scorecards will come together to help us make a good decision. And the way that this will work is that your team can actually pull up the candidate profile. And on the scorecards tab, not only are we going to have the overall recommendations from each person, but you'll have a visual summary of everyone's feedback across all rounds. So now it's very easy to say, let's not worry about these areas, but we should talk about disagreements or things we've missed. And specifically, who do we need to speak to? So an easy way to make sure we have a process for making good decisions at scale. This is one candidate profile. All your candidate profiles will always remain in your candidate database. So if we want to do custom searches, if we want to source within our database, that should be really easy to do. We have lots of filters that will be available here on the left-hand side, whether that's searching by keywords in past candidates, maybe it's narrowing it down to only candidates that reached a final stage, maybe it's searching by location. But this gives us the ability to create a community of talent that we can then select in bulk, send an email, and get in touch with about a new open role. So a really easy way to make sure that we can fill seats more efficiently using significantly less resources. Searching within your database isn't the only way to source within Greenhouse. For those that use LinkedIn Recruiter, we are a platinum partner of LinkedIn, and that means that from a recruiter perspective, it's a one-click export for anyone who looks interesting into the ATS. The benefit of this is that we can actually hold all prospective talent, people that might be a good fit, in what we call our CRM, and you can talent pool and nurture these candidates in different ways over time. So our users are not just using Greenhouse for active talent, but for creating talent pools for the future as well. This goes for customers that are going to events or careers fairs. We actually have an iPad app that will allow you to bring an iPad to any sort of event, create a custom questionnaire, and click Start Recruiting. From there, anyone that you meet could fill out your form, take a picture of your resume, and submit it directly into the CRM. Now your recruiters, once the prospective candidate walks away, can put in their password and then find the candidate's profile and put some notes in on how we want to follow up with them. So we want to streamline all of your different recruiting activities and make sure that everything is centralized in one place. Now, the last piece is making sure we have an understanding of what's working and what's not. So through Greenhouse, there's lots of different reporting functionalities. We have a custom report builder in addition to over 40 different pre-built reports that you can configure. You'll see the purpose of the report is on the left-hand side, whether that's helping managers, executives, improving from our past efforts. And all of our reports You can pull right here as well as customize. So for example, you could take a look at your funnel and understand how many people does it take for us to source to get us down to one hire, given the way we typically convert. Or is there a certain place in the process that people tend to drop off? Or is there a bottleneck? All of our reports can be filtered, but they could also be saved, exported, emailed, or set out on a schedule. Finally, for G Suite users, let's say you like this data set, but you'd like to customize it differently or visualize it differently. We even have a report connector that allows you to sync the data set, build your own visuals, and whenever you'd like, automatically refresh this with the most recent data in Greenhouse. So a really easy way to tell a story with the data of your ATS. The last piece that we'll go over for today is going to be our candidate surveys. So Greenhouse is always trying to help its customers iterate and improve over time. And one of the ways that we do this is by automating a candidate survey. This is absolutely optional, but we can send this out to candidates that reach a certain stage. And the whole purpose is to understand what do we do well and where can we get better across which teams. So a lot of customers will filter this by, the first month they use Greenhouse versus the 6th versus the 12th. And it's going to make sure that we are doing everything we can to attract the type of talent that we want. That's it for today. Please let me know if you have other questions.